is leading your rotation. You want somebody that's going to go deep into ball games, that's going to give the team a chance, and Corey Kluber is that guy. He's been so good on the mound, so consistent. We saw it last year, though. We saw this guy really put together a strong season last year, and it has been a carryover effect so far this season.
Well, I think now you're going to look at the second half and see the adjustments that lineups will make. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he deals with adversity because, listen, he's had a great first half. Kudos to him. But now it's about making those adjustments third, fourth, five times you face a lineup. You're going to face Detroit again in pivotal times in August and September. Going to have to be able to mix it up all the way through.
All right, gentlemen, let's take a look at the schedule, shall we, for now, because the Indians are on a key road trip here, 11 games in 10 days. Here's what we're looking at for the next few weeks. This road trip, it's through the Central. This is going to be big. Then you come home to take on one of the top teams in the American League, the Seattle Mariners. Texas has been struggling. Then it's Cincinnati. Then it's off to Cincinnati and at New York. So I wouldn't say there's any breaks here, but still an opportunity to gain some ground.
Yeah, 28 games from the start of the second half that they're going through, and they're going to have to play teams that they're essentially in front of. And I think, honestly, at this point, it becomes, all right, we got to take care of business, and we got to be able to do things and take care of the teams in front of us.
Right. Now, when you look at this, it is a tough stretch right now, and I think the biggest thing that you have to realize is they play one game at a time.
All right. Jensen just took the elevator. His chair just
Luckily, he's tall.
Let's take a look at the Central standings for you as Jensen will straighten out his chair while we do that. The American League Central sees Detroit on top, but the Indians now have pulled even with the Kansas City Royals.
No, this is huge for the Indians. You get to 500, now all of a sudden you get over 500, you get over that little hump, and they've been hovering right around 500 all season long. But now you leapfrog. Now you're in second place. You have a chance today to really gain some more ground on Detroit.
What do you think, Shorty? Anything?
I don't know. I grew a little bit that last time.
There he is. He's back to Jensen level. We will take our final break right here on Indians Live. When we come back, we have the starting lineups for you. We have the pitchers. We have 3 keys for an Indians win today. And the short man, he will have some analysis on the Vandy guy.
On a very tall guy.
Right. Much taller than Jensen. Stay tuned. Indians Live is brought to you by GMC. Visit your Northern Ohio GMC dealer for a test drive today. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. MLB news and notes for you. Houston indeed does have a new street.
What if he's moving to a boulevard, though?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. What do we do? CC Sabathia, he's done. Former teammate Stanny, for this year at least. And Dan Uggla, this guy was such a problem in Atlanta, they simply set him free with $18 million left on his deal.
Unreal.
It is unreal. They would never do that to you guys.
They already did.
It's a lot of five guys.
18, yeah, but $18 million left on. Unfortunately, you didn't have that left on your deal.
18 million in like pesos.
Yeah. Well, that's about what it would add up to. Here's the starters for you. All right, the Vandy guy, 4th round of the June 2012 amateur draft. Drew Van Hagen. Silly me. Verhagen, Mr. Vanderbilt. What do you got?
He's going to be more of a John Lackey type. Big kid, 6'6", mid-90s fastball, very heavy, good arm speed on his changeup, slow curveball. But the thing is, he's a good athlete for how big he is. He's going to challenge guys early in the count.
Here's the lineup he'll be facing today with Michael Brantley. A hit in 10 of his last 11 games, a .438 average during that time with 3 homers.
Yeah, I think for me, the lineup, especially facing a guy making his major league debut, take your time the first time through, kind of get a feel for how he's going to come at you, and then react from there.
Corey Kluber's on the hill today, as Jason Stanford pointed out last segment. Of course, it'd be cloudy with some rain this morning. It might hold off, though.
It is going to hold off only because this guy's been dominating against the Detroit Tigers this year. Does not have a win, but 14 strikeouts in 14 innings, only 3 walks. This guy needs to continue to strike it up on the inner half.
He has problems with only 2 hitters in the Tigers lineup. Guess which 2 of those
only
are?
2?
Only 2. Imagine it's going to be Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez. Both of these guys right in the middle of the lineup have done damage against Corey Kluber in their career.
Yeah, Cabrera 500 average against him, Martinez 471. But other than those 2, he gets everybody else.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at 3 keys for an Indians win today. It's brought to you by your Northern Ohio GMC dealers. First up, all Kluber has to do is be Kluber. Look at his numbers there.
I'm going to say just keep carving. That's with a K. I think as long as he stays with the mentality and the approach he's got a real good chance to take game 1.
And here in July, as the weather's warmed up, so have the Tri-Bats. They've won 9 straight games when they score 5 runs or more. They did it last night. Score 5 or more today. Things are looking good.
You want to break somebody into the big leagues? Ambush them immediately. Get on this kid. Let him pay for it. Let them have some fun, too, while they're at it.
Especially those Vandy guys, too. Jump on them early.
Defending champs. Or,
The national champs.
champs. Yes,
Sorry,
exactly.
you want to get
We'll be
that right.
defending champs.
Breaking new ground finally. The Indians 2 games over 500 with a win. That would be the first time they've been that good since June 9th when Monty Chisenhall had a night.
As my former manager, Brett Butler, says, win the first game, win the series. Go ahead and let this new guy say welcome to the show, and then go ahead and take game 1, get to game 2.
It is that simple. Doubleheader day today in Detroit. Game 1 coming up next. Matt Underwood and Rick Manning the call. For Katie Witham, Jensen Lewis, and Jason Stanford, I'm Al Pulowski. Thanks for watching Indians Live. Have a good one. It's hard to imagine a better second half start for the Tribe. The pitching has been consistent. The hitting, clutch. Over 2 days, the Indians have played 3 games against the AL Central's best and won them all. Can the Tribe win today and sweep the Tigers? The second half of the season is here, and the Tribe is on fire in July. Can the roll continue? Indians Live starts right now. Indians Live is brought to you by your Northern Ohio GMC dealers. Today in Detroit, the Indians hope to continue their stunning weekend of the Tigers and sweep them in 4 games as they've won the first 3 games. Today, they're 3 games over 500. Can they go 4 games over and get to 3.5 back? Right now, the Indians on a roll. Welcome into Indians Live here in our Cleveland studios. Al Pulowski, Jason Stanford, Jensen Lewis. Boy, guys, what a change just a couple of days make. The Tigers were cruising, feeling good about first place. Well, now the Indians are right on their heels.
It really doesn't matter if it's a regional game or a national game. They're playing the way that they need to right now. It's been a beautiful thing.
You guys needed a winning streak. You brought me in. I know we've
that's
said
what
this
it
all
was.
year, but it's not coincidental, I don't think.
Yeah, no, speaking of Jensen Lewis, we have some fun with Jensen coming up in the show. What can that be? Well, we'll see. Right now, 3 things you need to know heading into today's game. Starting off right are the starters. They've pitched great in these 3 games. They've done the job. They've come up with some big pitches when they needed to.
When you throw pitches where you want to and you get guys in your counts, you make them swing at your pitches, you're going to see a big difference. Corey Kluber did a great job. McAllister did an awesome job coming in, filling in yesterday. But Trevor Bauer, the young phenom, doing it again on Friday.
All right, second thing you need to know heading into today's game, the offense has been stellar. Huge hits late in games have led to nearly 7 runs per game in this series.
Oh, we said it on Friday. Jason Kipnis and Carlos Santana needed to step up offensively. Right now, in the last 3 games, 6 of 27, 9 RBIs, 2 homers, 6 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Exactly what they needed to jumpstart this offense.
And the third thing you need to know heading into today's game, the Indians have not been good on the road this year until July. A win today would be the 6th straight road win. That would be the first time that's happened since 2008.
Well, it's a good thing because you look at this team, they're starting to play clean baseball, no errors. Pitching's there. The bullpen's been doing it. The offense is stepping up. This is what you're looking for in a playoff caliber team.
Indians coming off a sweep yesterday as well. The day-night doubleheader of Detroit. Guys, let's take a look at our Subway Fresh play of the game. We'll go back to last night. Carlos Santana, 9th inning, 2-2 game, bases loaded, 2 outs off of Joe Nathan. Just misses a grand slam, cleans off the bases. That really gave the Indians the sweep right there.
Like we talked about again, Carlos Santana has been very good entering the second half, and we knew that he needed to have something go really, really well for him to jumpstart his second half. Well, it couldn't have been any better than what he did. He missed a grand slam by a foot, and Jay, we've talked about it a lot. Guys in the middle of this lineup going to have to be difference makers going forward.
Well, we've seen him the whole time, too. He takes walks, but then recently he's been struggling. He had a great June. He needs to get the July going, and hopefully that hit last night will get him propelled.
All right, so the Indians win Game 2 last night. What about Game 1? We have that one for you here on Sports Time Ohio, and we saw Corey Kluber straight out dominate this Tigers offense, which is a very good one. He goes 8 2/3, gives up only 2 runs, walks only 1, while striking out 10. Corey Kluber has been the most consistent starter on this staff this year.
You need somebody to fill in the void for an ace, and this is the guy right now. He's done a great job all season long. Consistent Kluber with a KK. You like the idea? We'll start trending it, right?
Okay.
Rain Man, everything about him. But you look at these numbers right here. This guy is an ace. It's no longer an ace saying, oh, maybe a number one. He is a true legitimate ace. He's tops in a lot of the pitching categories, in innings, in strikeouts, in strikeout to walk ratio. It's been a beautiful thing.
I think he learned a lot from Justin Masterson last year, and you just see how Masty carried himself. And I know he's struggled this year and he's had the injury problems, but when you see how the maturation of Corey Kluber has come full bloom this year, you look back to last year in the campaign that Masty had, pretty much the same when you break it down.
And you know from being in the clubhouse, when your ace takes the hill, as the Indians are 11-3 in his last 14 starts, you know what that's like. You're going out there feeling, we're going to win today.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, you look at this guy right now. He could have easily thrown a complete game yesterday. It doesn't matter about the innings and the pitches anymore. It's about, hey, I can go out there. I know what I'm going to do. The defense knows exactly what he's going to bring to the table. That's what I like right now.
I think he needs to start buying Tito some dinner to be able to get that last out. I mean, it's a couple times now. He's going to try and get him in there a little bit.
And could the first 3 games of this second half gone any better for the Tribe? I don't know how it could have.
It's impossible. There's no way.
Either.
All right, let's take a look at some numbers here. What the Indians have done against the Tigers in this series. I mean, flat out, they've dominated Detroit. Even though Detroit could have easily won Friday night, they could have won either game yesterday, especially the second game, though. But when you look at these numbers, you see just how dominant this Tribe team has been.
The bullpen has been the difference maker for me. 7 innings so far in 3 games, 7 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, Jay. It's been shut down. If Jason Kipnis makes a nice play in behind Scott Atchison, this entire bullpen has been pretty much perfect to start the second half.
Yeah, very much so. And now for me, I'm looking at it to say last year, this was not the same team.
Right.
This year, you start getting over that hump. You start saying, we believe that we can beat this team. That's why they're winning games right now, is that they believe wholeheartedly in that clubhouse, 1 through 25, that they're doing the job one game at a time. They have the momentum going from the first half, and I talked about it. The first half, that last game on that Sunday, they lost last year or 2 years ago. This year they won that game. That momentum's carried over.
All right, let's take a look at the standings, too, because this is where it's really big. Going into this series was 4 games against Detroit. The Indians were 7.5 back. Had they gotten swept, you're 11.5 back. You're probably out of the divisional race. If you win all 4, you're within 3.5. You're right there. Even if they lose today, they're only 5.5 back. They're still right there.
They've gotten a foothold back in this race, and they've really put the onus now on Detroit. When you can put pressure on a team that's ahead of you and really make them sweat it out a little bit. Let's face it, Victor Martinez has struck out 4 times in his last 12 at-bats. Yeah. He struck out 23 times in 302 at-bats previously. Now, that's shut down pitching for me. That's neutralizing a guy that's not named Cabrera in the middle of that lineup.
You are loaded with stats today. They're just rolling off the tongue. There you go. Coming up next, how about Chris Dickerson? Here's a guy the Indians picked up not even a couple of weeks ago, and he's batting over 400. He hit 2 homers last night. We'll talk to Dickerson and give you more on this Tribe Tigers game today, right here on Indians Live. Indians Live is brought to you by GMC. Visit your Northern Ohio GMC dealer for a test drive today. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Wendy's. Indians and Tigers today as the Tribe goes for the 4-game sweep right here on Sports Time Ohio. There's the carousel, round and round it goes. You guys ever ride that?
That's what the Indians are doing right now to the Tigers. They're going around and around and around.
Making them go around and around.
Trying to chase that tail.
See if that can continue with Josh Tomlin. He's on the hill today. Welcome back to our studio here downtown Cleveland. You know, guys, another guy that's really come on here in the month of July is Chris Dickerson. He wasn't even on this club a couple of weeks ago, but he's batting over 400. Last night off of Max Scherzer, he hits 2 home runs. That's not easy to do.
Max says, you know what? I never want to face the Indians again this season. I don't want to face Chris Dickerson because I throw him a breaking ball, I throw him another breaking ball, I get beat. 2 home runs, beautiful thing.
He's done a really good job of turning the bottom of this lineup over and really adding some punch that these guys have needed. When you don't have a Michael Bourne that's dynamic at the top of the lineup, the presence he's been able to add as a veteran guy, not only offensively but defensively as well to shore up that outfield, he's been a great addition.
Safe to say he's exceeded expectations for sure. He's standing by right now in Detroit with our own Katie Witham. Let's send it out there to Katie.
Thanks, Al. Well, Chris, you come up with your first multi-home run game last night, and it was off Max Scherzer, no less. What was that like?
It was pretty awesome considering it was 0 for 10 or 0 for 9 with 7 Ks. And yeah, he's just one guy that I always bring up that absolutely owns me. And finally got him this time and just made the proper adjustments. And I just think it's funny considering the day I had the night before with the 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, and then go back against a guy who's basically given me 2 hat tricks before. So. I just made the adjustments, and, it worked out for the best.
Yeah, Max Scherzer, one of the best pitchers in the game right now. Clearly a tough one to face, but you give the Indians the only 2 runs he gave up. What adjustments